Jim Rutherford just revealed everything about the Vancouver Canucks future, going into detail on Rick Tocchet's departure as the Vancouver Canucks head coach, revealing plans for the future and even teasing at who could possibly be the next head coach. We have a lot to break down from this Jim Rutherford media availability, and you're not going to want to miss it. Before we hop into that, if you're a part of the 63% that's not subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on everything to do around your Vancouver Canucks, there is no better spot. So go down and hit that free subscribe button. It helps us out a bunch. And in return, we'll give you updates on everything to do around the Vancouver Canucks. But with that, Griffin, we got hop straight into it. So if you guys missed it, we did see today, Jim did announce that Rick Tocchet has decided not to return as head coach for the upcoming season. With this, it continued on where we did see Adam Foote's contract is up. Believe he has permission to speak to other teams. So the dominoes are falling. It seems like Rick Tocchet's coaching staff is slowly moving their way out of Vancouver, and we're expecting a full coaching change going into next season. Now, before we get into that, we do have a lot of quotes coming out. So the first one is from Jim himself. Jim said this was very disappointing news, but he respects Rick's decision to move to a new chapter in his hockey career. We did everything in our power to keep him, but at the end of the day, Rick felt like he needed a change. Now, Griffin, we know this sucks. A lot of fans loved Rick Tocchet. A lot of fans did not. His system was very confusing for a lot of people. We know this was not due to money. Ken Robinson even came out along with other reporters saying, I'm told the Canucks offer to Rick Tocchet would have made him the top paid coach in the league. Money wasn't an issue, and we do find out, and I know this is a lot to take in, Jim Rutherford says Rick Tocchet wanted to move back to Eastern US to be closer to his family. Was part of the reason Tocchet left the Canucks. Now, I know this is a lot to take in. This is a lot of news. We've seen a lot come out of this media availability, but with everything, with Rick Tocchet wanting to head back east, with that being confirmed now, with money not being the issue, with everything coming out, with even Adam Foote talking to other teams, and he may not, but it does seem like it's going to happen. What is your thoughts on this entire Canuck situation that Jim Rutherford has had to deal with today?
When it rains, it pours. And when it's in Vancouver, it downpours torrentially. And that's what it is in Vancouver right now. It seemed like JT Miller, that was bad enough. And then we got Brock Boeser likely leaving. Okay, now it gets worse. Then we got Rick Tocchet leaving. Okay, can't get any worse, right? Now Adam Foote's probably leaving and the entire coaching staff. So honestly, how could this get any worse? I don't want it to get any worse. I hope that it doesn't, because at this point, nothing could really surprise a Canucks fan because of what we've seen and how shocking it's been. But at least we know that Canucks management did their due diligence. They did everything they could to get Tocchet to stay. So that at least makes me feel good about it. Maybe in a year or so from now, we find out maybe that wasn't the case. But at least as of right now, I'm happy with that being what is happening right now, where, yeah, the Canucks at least tried. They put the college out. They put that old college try out there to try and get him to stay for one more year or for a longer time. And it just ultimately did not pan out. It does suck that we're losing his entire coaching staff along with it. This is something that became a question when Patrik Allvin did his media availability at the end of season press conference, where they were asking him, because Rick Tocchet and his staff, they're usually attached to it. And he said, yeah, they're all attached to his contract, but we're not even worried about that because their focus is to make sure Rick stays here. Well, now he's not. So now that does have to be your focus. So switch up, go out and get some coaching staff. But hopefully if you bring in a coach, hopefully he does have a coaching staff attached to him. So it just limits the job hunt that much more, because Vancouver is already going to be hunting a lot this offseason. Now staff is added to it.
And now the big thing is, listen, Rick went out to say, hey, Patrik Allvin is currently traveling to Dallas to watch U18, so he was not available for this. He will speak on the matter as well. But with Jim, we've seen a lot come out of this, even talking about new coaches. Jim continued on and say Manny Malhotra will certainly be on the short list for the new Canucks head coaching job. Now, they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to go out and look at every possible option. Manny Malhotra, if you don't know, is a part of the Abbey Canucks, the baby Canucks right now, leading them right now into the second round against the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Awesome name, by the way. But with this, we do see his development really going through with the players. Victor Mancini spent some time with Absurd, coming back up, but is currently playing down there. Lekkerimaki was down there as well. D. Petey, Max Sasson, these guys that came up, even Atu Ratu is having a career year right now. A lot of these guys have been outstanding, and a lot of the development is coming from Manny Malhotra himself. Listen, he's never been a head coach other than the AHL. We've seen him with the Toronto Maple Leafs just a couple of seasons ago as their assistant coach as well. Manny is a very interesting option. Listen, I wouldn't be mad at it if they can get someone with a lot more experience. Sure, go out and do it. But if Manny Malhotra is the guy you want maybe in 2 to 3 years, because let's be honest, the Canucks don't keep coaches for very long. But if Manny can develop into a head coach, even the start of next season, Griffin, would you be upset with this?
Absolutely not. I think this is a narrative that's going to get a lot of traction over the next couple of weeks. This is something that even a few weeks ago we were talking about. And then even last night in our video, I was saying that with Mike Sullivan getting pushed out, the stuff with Tocchet, we could definitely see Manny Malhotra as a future coach of the Vancouver Canucks. And I think this is something that we were even talking about just as far as Tocchet's contract in general, that even if they couldn't get him, eventually, even with his promotion to Abbotsford, I think Manny as a Vancouver coach was just inevitable at a certain point if he was successful in Abbotsford. He's proving successful in Abbotsford, not only with the way that they're winning, they're going to the second round of the playoffs. Like you said, all those guys that he has helped develop, they played in the NHL this season. And like I've been saying, a lot of those guys did play in the NHL a lot more than they usually would, or most AHL guys would, because of the injuries we had and how unlucky we were. But a lot of those guys did earn themselves permanent roster spot next year's, or they will have twice as many of the games in the NHL as they did this past season. Lekkerimäki, he's going to get twice the amount of games. Atu Ratu, he might be a permanent member of the roster. So there's a few other guys in there that have definitely worked their way up to be in that mix. And Manny Malhotra has done a fine job of doing that. So if they have a situation where we're going to have a lot of AHL guys go in and out and back and forth, maybe it does make sense to have a guy in there who has coached both of those sets of players and make sure that this organization stays perfectly fine as far as a chemistry standpoint.
Now, the big thing with that is for Canucks, we actually seen them set a franchise record win streak as well. They've been dominant. Go check out their games. This is the future. The Canucks currently playing as the big club kind of sucks at the moment and doesn't have a head coach. But before we get into the next part, we know there's going to be a lot of speculations. The coach is coming in. Mike Sullivan is a name that has been floated around, but we've seen Jim Rutherford come out and say Mike Sullivan wants to stay out east. I'm sure he's reached out to his good buddy that he was with during his Pittsburgh Penguin time. So it does seem like Mike Sullivan is not an option for this team. Manny Malhotra is going to be on the short list. I'm sure we're going to get a list of a lot of guys that could possibly come. And listen, we've seen Jim speak on this as well. The reporters asked him, what is your thoughts on roster construction? We know this is a very Tocchet style team. You have heavy bodies that want to get in front of the net, forecheck, everything in between. But he said they don't want to make any roster changes. There's going to be major changes, but they want to wait till they bring a new coach in, figure out what system he wants to run, what construction works best under him as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of coach they bring in. Maybe they want a coach with more speed. Maybe we see more fast wingers come in. Maybe a coach that demands box days. And listen, I'd be completely fine with that. Let's be honest. But it does continue on where a lot of people are going to talk about this as well. His quote from Quinn Hughes. Now, he went in to say, I hope he's playing golf because he usually returns my calls right away. I called him within half an hour of talking to Rick, and he hasn't called back. Now, Jim laughed a bit. He said he understands that he's very disappointed. The same he is as well. During this interview, he said he still hasn't spoke to Quinn Hughes. He understands that he's going to be very upset. He's disappointed, and he said players are very disappointed with Tocchet leaving, as this was pretty much a blind sign. Listen, Griffin, we know going to the leaders is going to be a big thing. Going to Quinn, whatever makes Quinn happy, makes Quinn want to stay minus getting his brothers, because that's going to be very hard to do. Going to these leaders to look at them and say, hey, are you fine with this coaching style to come in? Are you happy with this direction? The team is going to play a major part. But what do you think the outcome from Quinn, who was super close to Tocchet? Tocchet was super close to Quinn. How do you think this unfolds between this now?
I think at this point, you got to treat Quinn like he's a junior GM, because he is the future of this franchise. He's already the star of the franchise. He is the next incarnation of Bobby Orr. I can never get tired of saying it because he is just that damn good, maybe even better. But with that as well, Quinn Hughes needs to have that much input, because this is ultimately the guy that if you let walk out of the organization, you will regret it for the rest of your life. And Jim Rutherford has even gone on record saying that it would be one of the dumbest decisions or dumbest things the Canucks could ever do, is letting a guy like that go. So you consult him, you keep him right by your side. And until you have a head coach assigned to be your next right-hand guy, you treat him as if he's your player coach, assistant GM, whatever you want to call it. He needs to be involved in those decision-making meetings, especially as well as Elias Pettersson, as well as Brock Boeser. If he's still there, if he's not there, Tyler Myers, anybody who is wearing a letter on their jersey definitely needs to be involved in those conversations. I think Connor Garland, as well as somebody who has earned a right to be in those conversations, considering the leaps that he's taken with Rick Tocchet, and as a way to keep him staying in Vancouver. His contract's going to be coming up next year. So if Tocchet goes somewhere else, it's likely that Connor Garland will try and follow him. So Vancouver needs to do whatever they can to make sure that doesn't happen, as unfortunate as that sounds. But with all of this, you definitely need to consult the players, and you need to make sure that, hey, after the season we had last year and after this blindsiding thing just happened, we need to make sure our locker room is fine, because right now this ship is leaking full of water. The barges are flooding and this ship is starting to go down, and they need to get the water out of this ship as fast as possible, or else it's going to go completely down with Quinn Hughes along with it, or he's going to jump on a lifeboat over to New Jersey. So with that, Vancouver needs to bring in these players, say, hey, what do you want in our next coach? Take a survey if you have to and say, hey, this is what we are committed to doing. We are a player organization wanting to hire coaches who have either played before or experienced players to adapt more to that, just like Tocchet did. And that'll be the way that Vancouver can try and find the perfect candidate as a head coach.
And what's your guys' thoughts on this? I know it's a lot to take in with Foot possibly not coming back, with Tocchet already leaving. Reports that he wanted to head east. If he goes to the New York Rangers, that's going to be devastating to watch. But what is your guys' feeling on what the current Canucks stand for? Do you think this is for the best? A coach that clearly didn't want to be here because he wanted to be with family. And like I said before, that is completely fine. You get to pick your own decisions. But what's your guys' thoughts on all this? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Leave a comment on everything you want to hear this offseason too. And hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on stuff like this, on rumors, reports, prospects, Abbotsford Canucks, the draft coming up. There's a whole lot to cover and you're not going to want to miss it. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host Griffin, and take care.